Greetings, YouTube. Another health update. I know, 2 in a row. Well, there's lots of things going on with my health at the minute. So, from the title of this video, you've probably figured out that I have had a PICC line installed. Now, the PICC line starts right here, right down here. That's where it actually enters my body. The dressing holds it in place completely. And this sleeve I have right now normally covers everything, but the sleeve at the minute is being used to hold in place the line for this. This is why I have the PICC line. So this is, what the hell do they call this crap? Vancomycin. This is vancomycin, and I have to take all of this. This is self-emptying, so there's a pressurizer here of some variety, and as it gets emptied, the bag will shrink, and until the actual interior container, this external container coating is just for protection. There's actually little air holes in it. When it gets all the way down to the cylinder that you can see inside, and I don't get any more squish, it's empty. And the procedure for this particular process is not fast. So I have to lay all my stuff out, okay? And then I have to wash my hands. I have to wipe the area. I put a paper towel down, I put all my supplies out. Then I wash my hands. Then I sit down. I open up all of the syringes that have been put in place, so that all the syringes are now empty. They're open, they're not in plastic containers. I pull out my alcohol wipes, and then I start the process. So the first process is I sanitize my hands with hand sanitizer. And then I take a wipe, and I wipe this little blue thing right here. And this little blue thing is actually the end of the tube that stays in my arm. So this, from here, this is the clamp that I use to keep things from moving when I don't want them to move. It's open at the minute because I want them to move. And that stays in my arm. That way I can actually reach this thing with my right hand, so I can do this by myself. That's why the extension's been put on in there, because the one that's here is only about yay long. And then I take that and I wipe it for 20 seconds. And when it's done, I take a syringe of saline. I remove the top, all the while making sure I don't touch the sanitized portion of my little blue tip. Then once I break it, remove the top. I break it, but there's a seal in there. You push on it and it breaks the seal. Remove the top, push up so I get liquid out so there's no bubbles in there. Make the connection, then do pulsing action to flush out the line with saline. So now the saline has gone into this completely. Then wipe, put this on, and then we go on to the next. Then when this is empty, we go on to the next step, which is to remove this, wipe, flush it with some more saline, remove the saline, wipe, hook up a second form of antibiotic, which is in a syringe, which I have to push for 8 minutes. Yeah, that one's a little on the annoying side. I would prefer if I had a machine that did that. I could just put it in there, hit a button, and it would inject it for me, but no, I don't have that option. Then I remove it, I flush again, and then I put in a heparin? Heparin into the line intentionally, and that's going to help from keeping it clean and keep blood clots from forming. Because this PICC line starts here. It is 43 centimeters long, and it goes all the way here until its little tip of the tube is right outside my heart. So it's going all the way through one of my major veins, and it's right outside my heart. So this material, this liquid that is currently going into my body, is being dumped directly into my bloodstream. Directly into my heart. There is no ifs, ands, or buts where it's going. In fact, when they were putting the line in, I had to do this to clamp off one of my veins so that the tube they were doing wouldn't go upwards instead of downwards. And then once it's in place, it stays here, because I have to do this twice a day for the next 6 weeks. In the morning, I take 2 forms of antibiotics, and in the evening, I only take 1. And it takes approximately, well, the last one it did this, it was like an hour and 10 minutes, I think, to finally empty. And you can probably see it's already starting to get smaller. And I have to do that, again, every day for the next 6 weeks. The reason being is that while my doctor was able to remove the bones that were infected, and they were absolutely infected, they checked them. I couldn't keep them, sadly. They discovered that there was additional infection in the metatarsal bones that had to remain. So there's 3 major bones for the metatarsals and 2 minor. The 2 minor are gone, and can't remove those. So the hope is if I put this directly into my bloodstream for 6 weeks, it will get enough antibiotics into the bone to wipe out the infection. So far, I have not suffered any side effects other than the fact that I can't use this hand for much. I cannot lift or push more than 10 pounds, which means, and at the moment, I am trying to survive with 1 operating limb. I have a Charcot foot on my left, and I have an incision on my right, which is this long, and I have a right arm that I can only use it for 10 pounds. And I have to cover it and make sure everything's kept tucked in place because it is possible to pull this out, which is bad. But it's also possible to break it off, which is really bad because then I have a tube attached to my heart pumping blood that way. So yeah, don't want that to happen. So this is my life for the next... This is the second day I've done this. This is the second time I have done this at home. The first one was done at the hospital. And this is the second time I've done this. I did it last night, and I did it today. And in fact, the second one I have to do for 8 minutes, I have not actually done that one yet on my own. I did a test injection at the hospital. They actually had me walk me through this. They let me do test connections. They made everything. I knew how to do everything, and the instruction was quite pleasant. And the instructor appreciated the fact that I am someone that enjoys documentation and details. And she smiled because she knew exactly why, because I'm autistic. So that's my current situation. I have to take this stuff, and hopefully it's going to work. I am not happy with this line. Getting it into my body was unpleasant. They numbed it up with lidocaine, but frankly, I don't think she waited long enough because when she put the big bore needle in there so that they could feed a tube this size all the way into my heart, I could feel that one going in. So that was not pleasant. Once she got the tube fed and they could remove that needle, everything was okay. In fact, the most discomfort I've suffered around the wound site is the fact that the adhesive is here. So every once in a while, I'll move my arm in a way that the adhesive doesn't want me to move, so it pulls on my skin. That's annoying. But that's the only discomfort I've had since I've had it installed. Also, when I have the sleeve down, sometimes I get itchy under the sleeve. I have no idea why. So yeah, that's my life right now. Just doing this, and this also has a clamp, by the way. And when it's time to get done with this, I clamp that off before I disconnect it. The clamps are kind of cool, though. They're very simple. They're very simple, but they work really well. All I got to do is push this way. There's a lip here. It goes click, and it stays in place. And when it's time to unlock it, you just go doop, and it pops off, and it unlocks. Very simple, quite effective. And I will be having a visiting nurse come in once a week, and her job will be to draw blood to make sure that I am getting the response the doctor wants, and she will draw the blood before I do any additional antibiotics that day. She'll do it. She'll come in the morning, and then she will change the dressing because she's a trained nurse and I'm not, and then inspect the site, make sure everything's a-okay, and then go on her merry way. So I have not yet set up the appointment yet because she's going to be coming in next Wednesday, I believe. I'm hoping because I've been doing 8 and 8, so I'm doing this at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So I'm hoping she can come in like 7:30, take the blood draw, change the dressing, and then I can get on with my business. So yeah, that's where I am. So I hope you find this interesting because technically it's interesting to me. It's not pleasant, and I have a real thing with needles, and I really don't want a plastic tube sticking out of my body. But at the moment, I have a plastic tube. So if you have ever had PICC lines, feel free to join in. I have a friend who had one. It didn't work well for her, sadly. She got a blood clot. That's what I'm trying to avoid. That's why we put the heparin in the tube. It helps to hopefully prevent that. And I take blood thinners, so I'm not really too concerned with the blood clot. I've never had that issue in the past. And And everything's pretty good with my pulmonary system. My heart works pretty well. I do have a very minor murmur, but I've had that very minor murmur for 61 years, and it's never been an issue. So I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to get clots, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I do this properly. So if you've ever had one, though, tell me how it went for you. And if you've never had one and you have questions, feel free to ask.